I specialize in, there's clams in general, but I specialize in giant clams. Now, giant clams are the only clams in the whole world that are photosynthetic. Now, why do I say that? Because photosynthetic clams are large clams. They grow to big size, half a ton size. The Gygus gets 4 feet, and it looks like a Volkswagen, a mini Volkswagen in the water. Because they're photosynthetic, they're the only clams in the world that can use the natural sunlight, the light itself, so they get to be very big. They are using the sunlight, their mantle, as a solar panel, so the sunlight is the main source of food. So giant clams have been out for 1 billion years. Yeah, 1 billion years.
Hello, everybody. I have a special guest today to interview. He came specially from LA, from California, USA, to our humble place in Aquaforest here in Poland. And we are extremely happy to host you, to show you our facility and to talk with you about the clams, about your experience with the clams, because it's something really unique. I don't think that I know a person who has so much knowledge about this beautiful and extremely fragile animals, which are clams. And personally, I have some knowledge about it, but it's just general knowledge. I don't have really a specialized knowledge that John has. And I'm very glad that he will be able to share with us this knowledge and even to share and to understand better the clams as an animal, how to keep them, how to make them thrive. And yes, so welcome, John, and I give you
the camera.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I am John, as he says, and Seweryn is so nice to host me over here in Poland, and I get to visit this beautiful facility in Aquaforest, and it's been an amazing experience. Lots to be talked about, lots to see, but right now we're talking about clams, so let's talk about clams. So Seweryn, let me know what questions you might have about clams, and I'll be glad to answer any questions, and let's give you guys some good knowledge. There's been a lot of emails that I get on a daily basis, a lot of people asking about clam care, clam health, how to acclimate clams. So we're here to give all that information for you, the Aquaforest viewers and the big audience for the reef industry, and also for the newbies that's coming into the industry. We want you to learn all the information, the ins and outs, why it's important to take care of the clams, because invertebrates are very sensitive compared to most of the other reef inhabitants. So if you can take care of your clam, trust me, you can take care of the rest. And clams are not that hard, but there's little things we need to work out. So here we go.
Yes, and I just forget to say, which is also very important, John is the owner of Clam Mania, and it's a beautiful company that they breed, import, take care of clams. So you can show his clams on Instagram, Clam Mania.
.ig.
Yes.
Yes.
So just watch the video. They are so amazing pieces of corals. I was shocked when I saw them. But anyway, it's very important as well. So John, tell us, what are clams?
Okay, well, I specialize in, there's clams in general, but I specialize in giant clams. Now, giant clams are the only clams in the whole world that are photosynthetic. Now, why do I say that? Because photosynthetic clams are large clams. They grow to big size, half a ton size. The Gygus gets 4 feet, and it looks like a Volkswagen, a mini Volkswagen in the water. Because they're photosynthetic, they're the only clams in the world that can use the natural sunlight, the light itself, so they get to be very big. Compared to other filtered clams that just filter only, and the ones you eat at your table sometimes. So this one, it's a lot more spectacular in color. Why? Because it's closer to the surface. Most of them are usually found closer to the surface, absorbing the sun. They are using the sunlight, their mantle, as a solar panel, so the sunlight is the main source of food. So giant clams have been out for 1 billion years. Yeah, 1 billion years. And we have done studies to show giant clams throughout the billion years, the pH and all that stuff. So with that, we have great laboratories like what they have in Aquaforest, and we can get more information to you about that. And that's what giant clams are, and it's mostly either for our reef industry. So yeah, it's something we love. It's our passion.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it is possible to keep them in the mixed reef tanks? For example, if you have SPS tank, you have some LPS tank, and the clams together. I know the answer, but I'd like to hear from you.
Yes, okay. Well, that's a good question, though. Yeah. That's a very good question. And a lot of beginners will, or even intermediate people, will ask if that's possible. And the answer is yes. Giant clams are actually tridactylus, or giant clams are one of the very important inhabitants in the reef ecosystem. In the wild, what they do is they produce a lot of zooanthelia. So the zooanthelia, as you know, are in almost every coral. So because of that, they produce so much that if there's any bleaching in that particular area in that coral reef, they produce zooanthelia, releases it into the water, and it goes into different corals, things like that. So in our systems, in our runway for corals, we love to mix our clams with all our LPS, SPS systems, because if anything goes wrong, we can always add more zooanthelia naturally, the natural way. It's being produced in abundance in the clam. For example, if I ship out clams, or if I get shipments in, as in the bag, you see these little black things, and we always put it under a microscope, zooanthelia.
Really?
So much zooanthelia. If I ship a shipment of lots of clams, I always get bags full of zooanthelia. So
you should sell it.
Well, we can. We'll give it to you. You can do whatever you want with it. So what we do is we're so happy to get that water. That water is pristine, and we take that water as we're acclimating the clams, and the remaining water we always dump back in our system because we're just adding more biology into the system, more zooanthelia, more bacteria, more of this. So it's actually a wealth of developing a big bank of good stuff for your system.
Yeah. That's a good. And clams have probably specific demands, so specific requirement that they need, like alkalinity, like salinity, like probably all the parameters that you know, like calcium, magnesium, and potassium, and strontium probably, because strontium is a very important factor for grow the skeleton. It's a hard coral. It's not a hard coral, but the shell. It's a big part of their life as well. So what are the requirements to keep them alive or thrive and
well, that's a good question too. And our studies, and then a lot of it goes to, I go to the actual islands where these clams are breeding and there are in abundance, right? You're always trying to go to the source where they've been living for billions of years. Some of the clams I can see, they're big clams of maximas of this big, and certain islands are just really big, and you can age the clam from 20 years on plus. Giant clams live up to 100 years, so they live a very long period of time. So we go to these areas, we do the chemistry and figure out, okay, what is the consistent chemistry of this water? Why are these clams growing so well? And the answer to this question would be, yes, of course, alkalinity stability is very important. It can range from alkalinity from in the 7s to the 8s. Now you can go even a little higher in the 9s without a problem, just because sometimes if your system is so big in abundance of corals, abundance of clams, then you need to have a little more alkalinity, because in a single day you can take 2 DKH out. So we keep the parameters similar to what you keep your salt, the natural seawater. So we try to keep everything as close as we can to natural seawater. As long as we do that, we're fine. We find out giant clams are very similar to any coral as far as that, for all the elements. Besides
any hard corals.
Any hard corals, I apologize. Any hard coral. We keep it to natural seawater for hard corals. But what we do notice, which is very interesting, like any of the trace elements are a little low, we'll see the retraction of the clam. For example, iron is a very important element for us that we always keep track of. When the iron hits 0, in our certain systems, we're always dosing iron because it's being absorbed so much in the clams. In some systems where we have macroalgae, it competes for the iron. So when it competes for it, and I have 0, and I see the clams retract, even though we test the water once a week, sometimes we miss it, and then I see the clams kind of closing up. We get the test back, and always the same result: 0 iron. We boost iron up, all of a sudden the clam opens up.
Yes, the iron it's a part of the discussion that we have with everybody, because iron it's so much fast absorbed element.
Yeah.
And eventually we should add it to the reef all time.
Yeah.
And that's why Aquaforest have some certain products like Component 123, Component Pro, that they have already iron in it. Our salt also have iron on it, and just it's very important about this. And I was quite surprised that clams react this way.
Oh,
You
yes.
see it.
Yes.
I was just. I would like to ask this question: what elements is kind of important here to monitor?
Yeah.
And of course, iron, it's not easy. You don't have, let's say, good tests like this kits. You need to do ICP tests to be really sure what is the level. So that's good to know.
Yes. And a little more about that. So people always ask about salinity and things like that. We have some system runs at 33.5 parts per thousand, sometimes even at 33 and up to 36 parts per thousand. But the main thing we really worry about is the trace elements, calc, alkalinity, the main major players for that. As long as those numbers are fine, the salinity to me is not like the biggest factor. So if your salinity is a little off, do not worry. It's the other things you have to keep track of. ICP tests will help you with that, and that's one of the most important things. Send your ICP test to a great place like Aquaforest. They do a really good job. They go 3-step process. They have so many different processes that nobody else has. So for me, it's I want accuracy. To me, I need accuracy to make sure my clams are growing. So that for me, those trace elements are very important. Not so much the salinity sometimes.
It's generally it's not to you. You have a lot of clams which are valued thousands of probably dozen thousands of dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
But everybody as a reefer have our precious corals in our tank. So it's good to have this habit to just send it time to time, just to match your result that you think that you have in your tank. Because sometimes we as a reefer, we make mistakes also when we test the water, and it's good to give to the professional just to match you. And then if it's fine, if you have a good guess about your parameter, that's fine. But it's better worried than sorry.
Yeah. True.
But tell me, did the clams have a gender? We can just see if it's a female or male. How it is?
Well, some of them wear lipstick and some don't wear lipstick. That's how you tell the difference.
Okay.
Jokingly, no. Yes, you can. I can estimate is what I can say at best. The estimation is based on the size of the clam. I would think the clam would be at that size of their age. For example, Crocea will grow at a different rate. That's a giant clam, or Tridacna, that is usually on the upper levels of the coral reef, and it's very brilliant colors. And you have Dorasas will grow up to about 2 feet, a little more, really big, girthy clams. Of course, that clam will grow at a different speed, meaning that at 3 years old to 5 years old, most clams will hit maturity, sexual maturity. So I know based on the maturity age that this clam will hit, what size it will be versus the Crocea. Crocea could be 3 years at this size, which is about, let's say, 3.5 inch or so, give or take, because some clams will grow at different rates. And I can estimate that will be sexual maturity, meaning that when they're juvenile or anything below that maturity stage, they are males, right? I've had an incident in the past in Reefapalooza, California, about let's say 8 years back, where we made a mistake. Someone made a mistake. I'm not going to name names, but they added a very cold water to our nice, 78 temperature Fahrenheit, and it triggered spawning because it was such a big shock. They're scared. They think, hey, we're going to pass away, so we need to make sure we have to breed to our offspring. But anyways, there was a lot of sperm in the water. It was very cloudy, but I knew it was all sperm, no eggs, because they didn't hit sexual maturity for the Crocea, which is 5 years plus usually. Yeah, so it's based on size, on the species. I can tell based on that, or I can guess, but once it's past that age, then you know it's a hermaphrodite. It has sperm and egg. So interesting fact, yes.
Yeah. So one clam can breed themselves alone.
It has been known to happen, but what they do is that one will trigger, and the way the clams are they learn to spawn, and then hopefully all those eggs will land in one area, or the spawning will land in one area. And they always go for small crevices and things like that. And when they spawn, they're all close together, so they have a better chance of actually breeding. But they're really good at, okay, you do the sperm and the other one triggers and they do the eggs. So it's not a lot of inbreeding. It's mixed breeding for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that we will end this episode.
Okay.
And I hope to see you again in one moment, but for you it will be probably a few days. So see you in the next episode, and we have more exciting information about clams to share with you. Thank you.
Take care.